welcome to TBS. This is Sadie. I want to talk today about a case that I have cared about for a really long time. And I've thought about it a lot. I think I have a lot in common with this girl. She just seems really cool and I know we would be friends. You know how that is when you hear about someone that's hurt or something and you don't know them, but they just seem like you, and so you start to care about them and you get kind of obsessed with their story. Well, this girl, her name was Unique Harris. And in 2010, she disappeared. And it was a very odd thing. It was horrible for her family. And I want to do the cards today and see if we can find out what happened to her. She was born in 83, I think, somewhere around there. She was a single mom. She had 2 boys, and she was really good in school. She was extremely smart. She was extremely nearsighted and had to wear glasses or contacts at all times. She was really close with her family, and she kind of stayed away from dating because she was starting to go to school again, and she wanted to focus on that and her kids. She had just moved out of her mom and her grandpa's house, and they lived in DC, and she had got an apartment for her and the boys, and that she was paying for herself. I don't remember which job she had at the time, but I know her grandpa could help her with money sometimes. So she did have a good position. She was pretty happy with her life, and actually really happy. Things were going well, but she could only afford to live in an apartment, and a cheap apartment at that. So she found a complex that she thought would be safe enough, but she had to save money, so she had to compromise. And she went and got into a place that was a little bit shady, a little bit scary. There were some shootings, there were some muggings, there was a murder relatively right before her disappearance. A street over or on her street. I don't remember that exactly, but she knew that she couldn't afford to live anywhere else, but she needed to go out on her own and try and live as she wanted to. She couldn't do that at her mom's house, so she said, I'm going to stick it out. I don't care how bad it is here. I'm going to try to be safe and smart, and we're just going to live here until I can get a better place. A lot of people have done this. A lot of single moms have done this. And because she kept to herself and her family, and she had close friends that were women only, she felt like it would be good for her to, that she'll be able to handle it, in other words. Her mom, Valencia, was a little bit worried, and her grandpa, Richard, they were a bit worried for Unique, but they understood why she wanted to go and be out on her own with the boys. And so what happened was, it was October and in 2010, and she had her little cousin Taylor over. She was close to her little boy's age, and she would take care of them and hang out with them and babysit. They were just a really close family. And so Taylor and the boys were playing and watching TV, and everyone was having pizza and stuff. And Unique stayed up with them for a while. I guess it was Friday night, maybe Thursday night, maybe Friday. But the boys weren't in school the next day, obviously, because they were kind of having like a stay up slumber party type thing. And Unique said good night to them at some point and went into her bedroom to go to sleep and shut the door. And Taylor was able to keep the boys quiet enough where Unique could go to sleep. But a few minutes after she had gone in there, she came out again with her cell phone in her hand, saying, "I'll be right back, Taylor. Don't worry, it won't be very long. I'll be right back." So Taylor thought nothing of it, and Unique walked out the door in her pajamas, without her glasses on. It was a bit weird, but no alarms were raised until half an hour later, and she had not come back. Taylor started to look around for her, and everyone realized she was missing. She had disappeared. She was gone. And her cell phone and her clothes were the only things that had been on her. Her glasses and her contacts and her purse were left in the room. So it was crazy. And no one really knows what happened. She has never been found or heard from again. I think she was 24 years old then. Maybe 30, I don't know, whatever she was. But she was really a cool person, and people wonder, why would she go outside and talk to someone? If it was a girl, wouldn't she just come inside? And why did she take her glasses off? I am nearsighted as well, extremely nearsighted. And I remember when I was younger, if I was going to see guys at a party or something, I would be vain enough to take my glasses off. I didn't have contacts yet, so I would pretend like I didn't have glasses because I thought I looked better without them. And I would talk to the guys like that, even though I could hardly see them. And Unique might have felt the same, like she didn't have time to put her contacts in, and maybe she was going out to meet a guy and wanted to look good. She was in her pajamas too, which is a little bit odd, but let's see if we can find out what's going on. This is my new deck. It's the Star Tarot, and it's huge. I really like the cards being large so that everyone can see them, and it's good, but it's really hard to shuffle them. So sometimes I just got this. So I think I'm gonna actually shuffle them half and half because I can't shuffle them all at once. But yeah, Unique's somebody I've been caring about for a long time. I've heard about her a while ago. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know. I lived by DC for 2 or 3 years, but I had never heard of this, and it was a little bit after that time. So she definitely was missed a lot. I mean, her family really, really cared about her and were obsessed with her in a good way. They were so close. The mom said that she felt like she would walk through the door any time and it would be fine, but it never was fine after that. Okay, so this is very straightforward. She had hope in her life. She was starting a new life in a way, because she was going back to school, and everything was really good for her. I don't know if she had started to go to school yet, but she had been accepted, and everything was getting out to a good start. She also had hope to have a relationship someday. She had her kids, and they were awesome. Everything was going well with them. And she kind of felt like she was in a second childhood in a way because she had so much fun with the boys and her little cousin. She had met a charismatic man recently who was close to her age but older, and he was definitely a ladies' man, definitely someone that had a lot of power over women by using his words and charm. And he was known around town, around the complex, but people didn't know that they knew each other that much. And she knew that she had a choice to make, should she talk to this guy or not. And because she had made a choice to decide, she made a choice to hang out with her family while she was going to school only and not date. But she did have hopes to one day be married and have more kids and be loved by someone and have a husband. So this was really tempting to meet this guy, especially because he was a smooth talker, and she wasn't used to dealing with guys anymore. So she kind of had let her guard down. Yeah, so she felt like maybe I can start over with this guy, and she also wasn't being smart about it, and all the way. She thought she was, but her feelings were getting the better of her. She tried to defend it off, but he was so good at what he did about talking to her, and he was so exciting to her that she decided to meet him that night outside of her apartment, just like outside the door. Okay, so this meeting obviously ended in tragedy, and she surrendered to the ultimate insight, which is she found out too late that she should never have been talking to this guy or been alone with him. And I don't know why there's the Six of Swords, because it wouldn't be her victory, it would be his victory, and we're reading from her perspective. So let's go back to that later on. Okay, so she was telling the guy, she was telling him that she didn't know if she wanted to be sexual that night. He had been pressing for it, especially because she was in her pajamas, and his car was around the way or in the parking lot in front, I can't see. And she wanted to be with them, but she didn't want to have sex, and she didn't really feel like making out either. But he did talk her over to the car, and it started to be where he was getting really handsy and she was getting afraid, and he started to try to take off her clothes, and she wasn't going to have it because she didn't want to be with him like that. She wanted to get out of there and go home, but he was mad. He was really mad that she was doing this because he considered himself better than women, and how dare she tell him what to do. And he didn't care about what happened to her. All he cared about was himself. And he didn't, and what she said was to him, I think she yelled probably, she said, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to tell the police if you keep doing this, because I don't want to have sex with you right now. I don't even want to make out with you, something like that. And he was so incensed because he's so used to getting the yes from ladies that he attacked. Okay, so he strangled her, and once you get into a strangling, it gets pretty quiet if the person is strong enough to get them in a stranglehold. And she died in the back seat of his car. Well, she suffocated to death. She was strangled to death. And so he called one of his ladies, his main lady that does everything for him, the one that would die for him even though he cares nothing for her. He called her and said, come over, I need your help. And they took her body to a dumpster that was behind his work or her work or a friend's work. It was a fast food thing, I think. Yeah, so a friend helped them there too. The man, we don't know his name, this guy, this charismatic guy, because she never told anyone about him. And he didn't tell anyone about her except for this second, or side girl, side chick, I guess you could call her. He asked his friend, or she asked her friend inside the restaurant, when does the garbage truck come and take this away from, and they're like, tomorrow morning. So for definite, they felt really good about leaving her in there. And so they both, he and the lady tossed her in there, shut the lid, and drove away. And they got away with it because no one thought to look for her at that section, because DC is huge and there's a million places you could put a body. Not get away with it perhaps, but yeah, so she's in this lady that loved him. She pretty much is so loyal, she'll never tell. Like, she would, even if she was in jail for him, she would never tell. And he's a very smart man, but a very devious, scary man that no one should ever be alone with. So that lady was generous with transporting her in her car and all that kind of thing. And then she kind of went out of both of them went out of even the vicinity of Unique. So her life was not connected to them, and her body went to the closest garbage dump. Obviously Unique knows that she's not trash, but her body was put there. And her mom and them, they'll never be able to find it. It's really, really far down, So her body's going to stay in there, but obviously her spirit's not. The Phoenix. And yeah, he's just really scary. Attempting guy. He looked pretty good, but he was more of a talker than how he looked. And he also seemed to have like natural large muscles. He's very dark man. Okay, so the grandpa tried to help, and the little boys tried to help, and the detective that was put on it right away. It wasn't one of those times where the police don't help. Somehow they got lucky and they started to look right away for her. They tried as hard as they could to get the truth and to find out, but because this man was not linked to her in any way, and the cell phone was gone as well, they couldn't be tracked. They couldn't be tracked where she would be. So they just had to go randomly around places and try to look for a body or look if she was hurt. And they didn't succeed. It was just the luck of the draw that Unique had picked someone that was as bad as this guy was. I guess he talked a really good game. She was smart, but she wasn't smart enough, I guess you could say. Let's see. So yeah, like she's in a better place now, but she didn't want to die that night. She had so much to look forward to, and she was really wanting like God to help and just save her, but she also kind of felt like surrendering to it, like, I know that God will let me live if I'm supposed to live, type thing. And all of her willpower was not enough to save her. She wasn't strong enough physically. Aww. Okay. Well, this is good. This is saying that her grandpa Richard, and her little boys will be taken care of. They had a good life. They know the truth in some way, and they're able to deal with it. And they're celebrating together, having money and having good jobs. And it would be interesting to find out what happened to them, and look in the news or look up on Facebook or something and see what her little boys are doing right now, and also her cousin. But the grandpa pretty much took over taking care of the sons, and that's okay. And it was a really, really hard time for them, and still to this day they have to fend off the horrible feelings of sadness and regret. Like, maybe if I would have talked to her more, she would have been safe, or maybe if I would have been there. But obviously there's nothing that they could have done, because this guy is a criminal. He's a predator. And he went, I think he went on to do this for a while, and let's see what happened to him. Okay, so he went into hiding, and then he went out and started doing it again. 3 times he's done this same kind of thing where it was really serious, and he tried to be like a lover person, but he wasn't. It was in disguise. He really had an agenda to attack and get his way. He had a thrill of doing it, and so eventually he knew he would reap what he sowed. But he was tried to be balanced and like not talk about it, and he did a really good job at that. And he lied all the time about everything in his life, and to himself. But then he had a little girl, and he knew he could pick which way to go. Should I start to become better or not? Kind of was a middle type thing where he decided to keep that part of his life hidden from her, and so he was like a two-face. He did love her in a way, but he acted pretty much the same towards people that were not in the circle of his little daughter and friends. So let's see, who is this person here? Okay, this is saying that Unique will have justice at the hands of a woman who takes up her cause and is really passionate about it and who has backing. I don't know if that's the little daughter of him or not. So let's see what I can do. Oh, I guess it's Taylor. I guess she goes to bat for her and tries to find out the truth, and justice will be served at some point. Is this guy in jail right now? No, he's being taken care of by a lady that is his slave, pretty much. And she's always sad because she knows he doesn't love her. But to her, he's everything. And she would not have a life without him. So, in other words, Unique was randomly chosen by a guy who she decided was attractive. And they started talking, and it just got out of hand with him being a total ass and her trying to defend herself. He cared so much about his image and being in control that he strangled her that night when she said she's going to tell the police if he doesn't stop attacking her sexually. And because he got the luck of the draw with the night it was, the garbage comes the next morning, they knew which dumpster would be open and able to put something in without anyone looking or whatever, have a lookout or something like that. So pretty much his life hasn't changed much, and hers is gone. Yeah, this is just saying her family has become a lot stronger because of this, and they see themselves as champions of justice, the boys too. And that they all still come together as a family and love her, talk about that night and how good she was. And it's made them more resourceful, and I think it's also showed them that something a little bit bad, which is maybe you can't get out of situations no matter how hard you try, but they still have that lesson to learn, if it's true or not, or if it's just like every now and again. Okay, this is just saying that there's a lot of love left over from her, and she did so well in life that she left kind of a legacy for her family. And this is the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Crystals, coins, the earth. He's the person that fights for what's grounded. He's a very temperate person. And this is showing that the dad of the two boys was like this, and he was able to help in some way. And what happened to her death actually changed him for the better as well. So this is a okay reading. I mean, I don't want her to be gone, but at least good things have happened to her family afterwards, and she is looking down on them and helping them in some way, maybe letting herself be known. This guy, unfortunately, is still free. He will always have a lady that will lie for him and that will die for him. He's so good at what he does. For whatever reason, he is not a trafficker or a drug trafficker. He's actually has a regular job. It's a little bit shady, but yeah, so he's never been in trouble with the law all the way or anything. And he won't be. He'll die like he is. But Unique was really awesome, and I wish she wouldn't have met him. I wish she would have not talked to him, but she was tempted. She had been alone a long time, and you can only be strong so long before the temptation starts to look really awesome. She wasn't able to take the world by storm. She wasn't able to save herself from the snake, but other people can. It was that night, and stuff happened randomly. So I hope this helped everybody. I hope that you guys can stay safe when you're on dates, and make sure that if you do meet people alone that you're just starting to hang out with, go to a public place that has a lot of people around if you can't get someone even to go with you. I know it seems like it's just a waste of time and it probably nothing bad will happen, and that's true. But when it does happen, it's going to be really bad. So I wish you all the best.